I, 24F, have an older brother named Ethan, 29 who I've always had a complicated relationship with. Growing up, Ethan was the golden child in our family. Our parents doted on him, and he could do no wrong in their eyes. Meanwhile, I often felt overlooked and like I was living in his shadow. From a young age, the differences between us were stark. Ethan was outgoing, athletic, and naturally charismatic. He made friends easily and was always the center of attention at family gatherings. I, on the other hand, was shy and introverted. I preferred reading books or drawing in my room to playing sports or socializing. Our parents, Mark, 55M, and Linda, 53F, seemed to favor Ethan's extroverted personality. They were always pushing me to be more like him, to join teams, go to parties, and put myself out there more. They didn't seem to understand or value my quieter nature and creative interests. As we got older, the gap between us only widened. Ethan excelled at sports, particularly football. He became the star quarterback of our high school team, leading them to multiple championships. Our small town treated him like a celebrity. Meanwhile, I struggled to find my place and often felt invisible both at school and at home. Ethan's athletic success only amplified our parents' favoritism. They never missed one of his games, proudly wearing shirts with his jersey number, but they rarely showed up to my art shows or academic competitions. When I won a statewide essay contest in 10th grade, they barely acknowledged it because it conflicted with one of Ethan's football games. Throughout our childhood and teen years, Ethan bullied and tormented me relentlessly. It started with small things when we were young, breaking my toys, excluding me from games with his friends, or pinching me when our parents weren't looking. As we got older, his tactics became more psychological. He would mock me for being weird and antisocial, steal or break my things, and turn our parents against me with lies and manipulation. If I ever tried to stand up for myself or tell our parents what was really going on, Ethan would twist things to make it seem like I was the problem. One incident that stands out happened when I was 13 and Ethan was 18. I had been saving up my allowance for months to buy a special set of art supplies I wanted. The day I finally had enough money, I came home from school to find Ethan and his friends using my new supplies to make crude posters for a party. When I got upset, Ethan told our parents I was being selfish and wouldn't share. They ended up making me apologize to him. Our parents always took his side and told me I needed to be more like my brother. They'd lecture me about how I should try harder to fit in and make friends like Ethan did. It was crushing to feel so unsupported and invalidated by my own family. As we got older, Ethan's behavior towards me only got worse. In high school, he spread nasty rumors about me to his popular friends, turning the whole school against me. He'd accidentally spill drinks on my homework or textbooks. Once he even stole my diary and read parts of it aloud to his football buddies, humiliating me. I remember one particularly painful incident during my sophomore year. I had finally worked up the courage to talk to my crush, a boy named Alex who was in my art class. We had been partnered up for a project and things were going well. But when Ethan found out, he cornered Alex in the locker room and told him I was psycho and had a shrine to Alex in my closet. Alex avoided me after that, and I was too embarrassed to ever speak to him again. I begged our parents to do something, but they always brushed it off as normal sibling rivalry. They told me I was being too sensitive and needed to toughen up. Meanwhile, Ethan could get away with anything. Even when he got caught throwing wild parties or coming home drunk, our parents would just laugh it off as boys being boys. When Ethan left for college on a full-ride football scholarship, I finally had some peace at home. For the first time, I felt like I could breathe and just be myself without constantly walking on eggshells. I threw myself into my art and studies, finally starting to rebuild my self-esteem. But every time he'd come back to visit, the torment would start up again. He'd make snide comments about my appearance or lack of a social life. At family gatherings, he'd subtly put me down in front of relatives. It was like he couldn't stand to see me happy or thriving in any way. After high school, I went to a local community college while working part-time at a bookstore. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life yet, and I needed time to figure things out. Ethan criticized my lack of ambition and would brag about his Division I football career. Our parents constantly compared us, asking why I couldn't be more driven like my brother. When I finally transferred to a 4-year university to study graphic design, he dismissed it as a no-name school that anyone could get into. He scoffed at my choice of major, saying I'd never make any money as an artist. Nothing I did was ever good enough in his eyes. Throughout college, I slowly started to come into my own. I made a small group of close friends who appreciated me for who I was. I excelled in my classes and even had some of my work featured in student exhibitions, but I still dreaded family gatherings where Ethan would inevitably find ways to put me down or steal the spotlight. Fast forward to last year. Ethan got engaged to his girlfriend of 2 years, Megan, 27F. I had only met Megan a handful of times, but she seemed nice enough. However, I couldn't help but notice how Ethan acted like a completely different person around her. He was charming, attentive, and portrayed himself as this perfect gentleman. It was so at odds with how I knew him to be behind closed doors. I remember the first time I met Megan at a family dinner. Ethan was on his best behavior, pulling out her chair and refilling her water glass. He even complimented my new haircut, something he'd never done before. It was surreal to watch. Part of me wanted to pull Megan aside and warn her about the real Ethan, but I knew no one would believe me. A few months ago, Ethan and Megan announced they were having an engagement party to celebrate with family and friends. I dreaded having to attend and put on a fake smile around my brother, but I felt obligated to go for appearances' sake. The night before the party, I was out with some friends at a bar when I spotted a familiar face across the room. It was Ethan, getting cozy with a woman who was definitely not his fiancée. I watched in shock as they kissed and left together. I was disgusted, but not entirely surprised that Ethan would cheat on Megan. It fit with the selfish, duplicitous person I knew him to be. Part of me wanted to tell Megan the truth right away, but I hesitated, knowing Ethan would find a way to spin things and make me look like the bad guy somehow. At the engagement party the next day, I felt sick watching Ethan and Megan play the happy couple. Ethan kept shooting me warning glances, clearly worried I'd say something about what I'd seen. I kept quiet during the party, but the knowledge was eating away at me. After mulling it over for a few days, I decided Megan deserved to know the truth before marrying my lying, cheating brother. I created an anonymous email account and sent her a message detailing what I'd witnessed at the bar, along with the date and location. I also mentioned that I had photo evidence if she needed proof. Within hours, all hell broke loose. Megan confronted Ethan and he initially tried to deny everything, but when she mentioned the photos, he broke down and admitted to cheating multiple times throughout their relationship. Megan called off the engagement on the spot. Ethan immediately suspected I was behind the anonymous email. He showed up at my apartment in a rage, screaming at me for ruining his life. I calmly told him that his own actions ruined his relationship, not me. For once, I refused to be intimidated by him. Our parents predictably took Ethan's side, berating me for betraying family and potentially costing Ethan his soulmate. I stood my ground and told them I wouldn't apologize for exposing the truth. If they wanted to keep enabling Ethan's horrible behavior, that was on them. It's been a few weeks now, and the family is still in turmoil. Ethan and our parents are barely speaking to me. Extended family members have taken sides. But honestly, I feel relieved to finally be free of the obligation to protect my brother's lies and keep up appearances. Megan reached out to thank me for telling her the truth before she made a huge mistake. That meant a lot and made me feel like I did the right thing, despite the fallout. I know it will take time for the dust to settle, but I don't regret my decision. So Reddit, AET for exposing my brother's cheating and potentially ruining his engagement? Should I have kept quiet to preserve family harmony? Or did Megan deserve to know the truth about the man she almost married? Update 1. It's been about a month since my last post and a lot has happened, so I wanted to give an update. First off, I want to thank everyone for the supportive comments on my original post. It really helped validate my decision to tell Megan the truth about Ethan's cheating. I was starting to doubt myself with all the family drama, so I appreciate the reassurance that I did the right thing. In the weeks following the engagement blow-up, things were extremely tense with my family. Ethan continued to rage at me via text and voicemail, alternating between guilt-tripping and threats. He'd leave messages saying things like, "You've always been jealous of me, and you'll regret this." I eventually had to block his number for my own peace of mind. Our parents kept trying to pressure me into apologizing to Ethan and fixing things. They insisted I had overreacted and should have come to them or Ethan first, instead of telling Megan directly. My mom would call crying, saying I was tearing the family apart. My dad sent lengthy emails lecturing me about loyalty and how blood is thicker than water. I stood firm and refused to apologize for exposing the truth. Things came to a head at a family dinner about 2 weeks ago. Our parents had been pestering me to attend, saying we needed to move past this as a family. They promised it would just be the 4 of us having a calm discussion. Against my better judgment, I agreed to go. Big mistake. The whole evening was an ambush, with my parents and Ethan ganging up on me. They accused me of being jealous of Ethan's success and trying to sabotage his happiness out of spite. Ethan even had the audacity to claim I had misinterpreted what I saw at the bar and blown things out of proportion. I was floored by how they were all gaslighting me and twisting the situation. It was like being transported back to my childhood, with everyone taking Ethan's side and making me out to be the problem. I finally snapped and unleashed years of pent-up anger and resentment. I laid out all the ways Ethan had tormented and bullied me growing up while our parents turned a blind eye. I talked about the lasting damage it had done to my self-esteem and ability to trust others. I told our parents they had failed me by always favoring Ethan and dismissing my pain. I brought up specific incidents they had brushed off over the years, like the time Ethan pushed me down the stairs and claimed it was an accident, or when he stole my college application essay, and our parents praised him for it. I talked about how their constant comparisons and criticism had made me feel worthless growing up. To my shock, my outburst actually seemed to get through to my mom a little bit. She got teary-eyed and admitted that maybe they hadn't always been fair in how they treated us. She said she had no idea things had been so bad between Ethan and me when we were younger. My dad and Ethan were furious, though. They stormed out, with Ethan calling me a pathetic, jealous bitch as he left. My dad slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall and shattered. In the days since that blowout dinner, my mom has reached out a few times to apologize and try to make amends. She said she's been doing a lot of reflecting on the past and realizes now how much she enabled Ethan's behavior. While I appreciate the effort, I'm not sure I'm ready to forgive decades of enabling Ethan's abuse just yet. I told her I need some time and space to process everything. My dad is still firmly on Team Ethan and thinks I'm blowing everything out of proportion. He keeps trying to push me to reconcile with my brother, saying family is family. He's been sending me long text messages about how I'm being selfish and immature. I've been ignoring his calls and texts for now. As for Ethan, he's been on a smear campaign trying to paint me as unstable and vindictive to anyone who will listen. He's been posting vague, dramatic statuses on social media about how you never know who will stab you in the back. A few extended family members and old family friends have reached out to chastise me for breaking up Ethan and Megan. I've been blocking numbers left and right. On a more positive note, Megan and I have been in touch a bit. She thanked me again for saving her from making a huge mistake. Apparently, Ethan had been gaslighting her for their entire relationship, making her doubt her own perceptions and instincts. She's in therapy now to work through the emotional abuse. Megan actually apologized to me for not seeing Ethan's true nature sooner. She said there were red flags she ignored, like how he'd make subtle digs at me or talk about me behind my back. It was validating to hear that someone else had noticed his two-faced behavior. She shared some stories about Ethan's controlling and manipulative behavior during their relationship. He would check her phone and accuse her of cheating if she talked to male coworkers. He criticized her clothing choices and tried to dictate who she could be friends with. It made me sad to hear how he had treated her, but I was glad she was free of his influence now. For now, I'm taking some time to focus on my own healing and well-being. I've started seeing a therapist to work through my childhood trauma and complicated family dynamics. It's bringing up a lot of painful memories, but I know it's necessary to move forward in a healthy way. I'm also throwing myself into work and my hobbies as a distraction from all the family drama. I've taken up painting again, something I used to love before Ethan mocked me for it in high school. It feels good to reclaim that part of myself. So that's where things stand for now. I'm still processing a lot of emotions, but overall, I feel lighter having finally stood up to my family and spoken my truth. I'll post another update if there are any major developments. Thanks again for all the support, Reddit. Update 2. Hey everyone, I'm back with another update on the situation with my brother Ethan and our family. It's been about 2 months since my last post and things have continued to evolve. The biggest development is that Ethan's life seems to be spiraling since his breakup with Megan. He lost his job after showing up drunk multiple times and getting into an altercation with a coworker. Apparently, he got into a shouting match with his boss when he was confronted about his behavior and was escorted out by security. Since then, he's been crashing on friends' couches and burning through his savings. From what I've heard through the family grapevine, he's been partying hard and hooking up with random women. It seems like he's trying to relive his college glory days rather than dealing with his issues. Our parents are, of course, enabling his behavior and making excuses. They've been sending him money and trying to convince him to move back home to get back on his feet. My mom called me in tears, begging me to forgive Ethan and help him out during this difficult time. She tried to guilt-trip me by saying that family should always stick together, no matter what. I refused and told her that Ethan is nearly 30 years old. It's time for him to face the consequences of his actions without me or our parents bailing him out. She got upset and accused me of being heartless. I responded that I was simply holding Ethan to the same standard of personal responsibility that they always held me to growing up. I reminded her of how they had always pushed me to be independent and figure things out on my own. When I struggled to find a job after college, they told me to toughen up, and that the real world wasn't easy. It felt satisfying to throw their own words back at them. In a surprising twist, my dad actually agreed with me for once. He admitted that maybe they had coddled Ethan too much over the years, and it was time for some tough love. This led to a big fight between my parents, with my mom accusing my dad of abandoning his son. From what I understand, they've been arguing a lot about how to handle the situation with Ethan. My mom wants to let him move back home indefinitely, while my dad thinks they should only offer limited support. It's causing a lot of tension in their marriage. Meanwhile, Ethan has been on a downward spiral of partying and hooking up with random women. He's been posting bitter, angry rants on social media about how everyone has betrayed him. A mutual friend told me he's been bad-mouthing me to anyone who will listen, calling me a pathological liar, who ruined his life out of jealousy. He's also been spreading rumors about Megan, claiming she was crazy, and that he's better off without her. It's clear he's not taking any responsibility for his actions and is just lashing out at everyone around him. I've been ignoring Ethan's antics and staying focused on my own life. I'm still in therapy, and it's been really helpful in processing my childhood trauma. I've been working through a lot of the anger and resentment I've held onto for years. It's not easy, but I feel like I'm making progress. I've also been reconnecting with old friends that I had drifted away from due to Ethan's influence. It's been nice to rebuild those relationships without his negative presence looming over everything. I'm rediscovering parts of myself that I had suppressed for so long. One positive development is that I've grown closer to my aunt, my mom's sister, through all of this. She reached out after hearing about the family drama and shared that she had always seen through Ethan's act. She apologized for not speaking up sooner and offered her support. My aunt told me about times she had witnessed Ethan's bullying behavior when we were kids, but she had been shut down by our parents when she tried to intervene. She expressed regret for not doing more to protect me. It was validating to hear that someone else in the family had seen what was really going on. It's been refreshing to talk to a family member who validates my experiences instead of gaslighting me. My aunt has become a much-needed source of support and guidance as I navigate this complicated situation. She's been encouraging me to maintain my boundaries with Ethan and our parents. As for Megan, we've kept in touch and have actually become friends. She's doing much better now that she's out of Ethan's toxic influence. She started a new job and is even casually dating again. It's great to see her thriving. Megan has been a great source of support through all of this. She understands firsthand how manipulative and destructive Ethan can be. We've bonded over our shared experiences, and it's nice to have someone who truly gets it. That's the main update for now. I'm still maintaining firm boundaries with my parents and Ethan. It's not always easy, but I know it's necessary for my mental health. There are times I feel guilty or wonder if I'm being too harsh, but then I remind myself of all the years of abuse I endured. I'm trying to focus on building a life for myself outside of my family's drama. I've been putting more energy into my career and hobbies. I recently started a small side business selling my artwork online, which has been really fulfilling. I'll post again if there are any major changes. Thanks as always for the support and advice, Reddit. It's been incredibly helpful to have an outside perspective on this whole situation. Update 3. Hi everyone, I'm here with one last update on the Ethan situation. It's been about 6 months since my original post, and I think this will be my final update as things have mostly settled into a new normal. The biggest news is that Ethan finally hit rock bottom and agreed to go to rehab for his drinking problem. Apparently he got a DUI and it was the wake-up call he needed. He's been in a 90-day inpatient program for the past month. From what I've heard through my parents, Ethan's rock bottom moment came after he crashed his car while driving drunk. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but he was arrested and is facing serious legal consequences. It seems like the reality of potentially going to jail finally made him realize he needed help. Our parents are cautiously optimistic about Ethan's recovery, but I'm maintaining my distance. I'm glad he's getting help, but I'm not ready to let him back into my life. Years of abuse and manipulation can't be erased by a month of sobriety. My mom has been sending me regular updates on Ethan's progress in rehab. She's clearly hoping this will be a turning point for him, and that our family can heal. While I appreciate being kept in the loop, I've made it clear that I'm not ready to have any direct contact with Ethan yet. My relationship with our parents is still strained, but slowly improving. My mom has been going to therapy herself and is starting to recognize how her enabling behavior affected both me and Ethan. She's apologized multiple times and is making an effort to respect my boundaries. We've had some good conversations where she's really listened to my perspective on our family dynamics. It's been healing to finally feel heard and validated by her. We're taking small steps to rebuild our relationship, but I'm cautiously optimistic. My dad is still struggling to admit any wrongdoing in how they raised us, but he's at least stopped pressuring me to reconcile with Ethan before I'm ready. We've been having short civil phone calls every couple of weeks, which is progress. I'm continuing with my own therapy, and it's been transformative. I'm working through a lot of childhood issues and learning to set healthy boundaries. I've also started dating again after taking some time to focus on myself. My therapist has been helping me work on my self-esteem and learn to trust my own judgment. I'm getting better at recognizing and shutting down manipulative behavior. It's empowering to feel like I have control over my own life and relationships now. Megan is doing great. She actually just got engaged to a really nice guy she met through work. She thanked me again for saving her from making a huge mistake with Ethan. It's amazing to see how much happier and more confident she is now. I attended Megan's engagement party last weekend, and it was a joyful celebration. Seeing her so happy and loved made me feel even more certain that I did the right thing in exposing Ethan's cheating. Megan deserves this happiness, and I'm glad I could play a small part in helping her find it. As for me, I'm feeling more at peace than I have in years. Standing up to my family and refusing to enable Ethan's behavior was hard, but so worth it. I finally feel free to live my life on my own terms without constantly walking on eggshells. My art business has been taking off, and I'm considering quitting my day job to pursue it full-time. I've also started volunteering at a local youth center, working with kids who come from difficult home situations. It feels good to use my experiences to help others. I'm sure there will still be challenges ahead as Ethan leaves rehab and we all adjust to this new family dynamic. But I feel equipped to handle whatever comes my way. I'm proud of how far I've come and excited for what the future holds.